we are in the presence of a celebrity right now. This is
We are.
She did the Super Bowl commercial with Bill Murray and Jeep.
That's it right there.
This is it. This is the one that started it all.
You planned that.
No, I didn't, but yeah, but that's cool.
Could we be in line for something funny to come out of the mouth?
Just might happen. What a little key.
She's the best.
Everyone deserves to feel their best. Everyone deserves to move their best and not have pain.
I'm a little upset that Ben got like 2 inches taller because he's already tall, dark, and handsome enough.
Culture is something we think about like all the time at Streakies. You know, we're all coming from different cultures.
Our comments have exploded
through the roof.
So there you go. All right, back at it after a week hiatus. It was Happy President's Day for us. I hope it was a Happy President's Day for you.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, that's when we do this thing.
This is Mondays at 2:00. Here we go.
Welcome to it.
I feel like it's the first show.
Why?
I don't know.
We're
131 episodes
into this thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
Seriously, you feel like it's a new show?
I feel like I've hit a giddy moment, and I'm just gotta.
What's
just
in
gotta
that
roll
coffee?
with it. Yeah, I don't know. It's Whiff Roasters, who was the last slide on the intro.
Yeah.
Just a note on Whiff Roasters, just kind of plugging them. Fantastic coffee, of course, right? But
we give it to every customer.
Yes, we do. They had to close their retail spot in the Lidditz old Wilbur Chocolate Building, and they're renovating. They're renovating their
first time doing the show, first time using words. I don't know. Apparently,
but they're making a retail space, a bigger retail space, and a kind of like coffee shop sort of atmosphere. I think in their facility, which is right behind Julia Sturgis Pretzels.
The coffee guys are doing a coffee shop type atmosphere.
I think so. Well,
boy, you are on point today.
At their roastery, they just have like a little retail space where you can buy the coffee, but not like they don't brew it there. Now they're going to have a brewing destination.
So they're not only good at selling you the coffee.
Yes,
they're good at giving you the coffee experience.
Make the coffee as well and provide it to you. Yeah. Yep.
Who thinks Ben's off to a rocky start on this week's episode? First time, feels like it's the first time doing the show after 130 times.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has a problem with words. Renovating.
Yeah,
and then
sometimes
coffee shops doing coffee shop things. Imagine that. Anyway, Lancaster Connects. This is a show not about two guys in a mattress store making fun of each other, or having fun. It often starts off that way. But the whole intent of this show is to bring you really great stories, really great people doing great things here in Lancaster. It's really a community podcast show, shining light on people doing good things, helping out their community, providing fun things to do in the community, which is what our guest is about today. And so, this weekend, Ben and I, we had sports things for our kids. Mm-hmm. Our guest had sports things for our kid. And I thought, what a great time to remind you about sleep for your kids and for your teenagers. Right? Like they're pretty sleep deprived as of late, a whole, as a group.
They're, like you get up into the high school ages, there's sports activities, a lot of homework, tests, like multiple tests weekly. And I think Amelia told us this morning she finally fell asleep at like 1:30 last night. And of course had to get up at 6:30. That's not a lot of sleep. That's not enough sleep, right?
Yep. No, not for a teenager. I mean, the average teenager should be getting about 10 hours of sleep.
Yeah. She did not get 10 hours.
So think about that. And, sleep, that's one of those things that compounds. And maybe that'll be a good way to bring our guest on here in a minute because he has pilot training. Is sleep that compounds, and sleep deprivation is a tremendous concern for people who fly things, not just for teenagers who play sports. But sleep deprivation is something that exists everywhere for everybody, affects everybody the same. And, sleep debt compounds. It goes out. It's not something you can just necessarily fix the very next night. It can take a week or so to, fix what you missed by going to bed at 1:30 the night before. Yeah. So, yeah.
She was in bed before that, I think. Didn't fall asleep for whatever reason. Yeah.
Our youngest son, Aiden, is he's on this football path, so he's up where he's in the gym at school at 7 a.m. and workouts first thing in the morning, and then workout in the afternoon, and his own workouts at home and on his own. And then yesterday we had 4 hours of private football coaching, and eating 5,000 calories a week to keep up with all of this stuff and grow. But
when you're 16, you can do that.
Yeah.
And if you have the physical routine to do it, right?
Yeah. Dad sometimes does it, and you can see the throughput of that. But yeah, his sleep, he really stays on top of it. I mean,
That's good.
He's getting up to bed about 8:30 each night. Doesn't fall asleep right away, but by the time I go up, he's long been asleep.
That's great.
And well, I mean, he has to. He's just, he's a big old hoss of a young man to carry around, so he needs that sleep, just like his dad. So anyhow, So hopefully your weekend was good. Hopefully you did great things with your kids and with your family and here in your community. And I guess it's a good time to bring Brett on, because
let's bring him on.
What Brett does, Brett Engroff from Susquehanna Valley Balloon Company does, is he can make your weekend a lot of fun here coming up soon in the spring. When does your season start off, Brett?
So typically, well, first off, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being on.
It's nice to be able to have the opportunity to kind of spread what we're doing. It's not something that's all that well known about, I think, sometimes. But we typically try to start flying in April. Really, our sport, our activity is tremendously weather dependent. I always tell people, if the leaves are moving, we can fly. If the branches are moving, we can't. So it doesn't take very much wind to cancel a flight, let alone rain, clouds, and all the other things associated with that. So we're typically like April to November is our flying season.
And you haven't figured out how to control the weather yet?
I have not, or I would not be probably doing this for a living. I don't know what I would be doing if I could control the weather. But yeah,
fair point.
Yeah. So circle back what I touched on a minute ago. Your other training in life and your other hat you wear in life is you are a pilot, flying commercial aircraft. And what's been your experience with sleep deprivation over the years, and the importance of sleep?
I mean, it's tremendous. I've been fortunate enough to work for a company that doesn't require a very demanding flying schedule. So we're not experiencing things like airline pilots are, the charter world with the fractionals and people that are flying every day, long legs. But it's probably the most important thing for a pilot, because it's what starts you off. And, a lot of incidents and accidents that occur in aviation generally can trend from 2, 3, or 4 small things that happen. And sleep deprivation being the first thing just kind of kicks your morning off on the wrong foot. So it's very important for us. Make sure we get up and are acute and understand what's going on, not have that kind of hazy head that people will have sometimes in the morning.
Yep. Yeah, there's numbers about I think being deprived 6 hours of sleep is the equivalent of being legally intoxicated, or maybe it's 3 hours of sleep. But there's a number there. And it exists, and it's just really important, and that's kind of what we do around here. There's a couple here in the store right now looking to improve their sleep with us, and so I think it's appropriate, given your profession. You have to be sharp, you have to be on point. So thanks for chiming in there. So, I mean, how does somebody get into? What do you call yourself? Are you a balloonist, like a machinist?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Balloonist. Yeah, that's the exact term. You nailed it, man. Good job.
Yeah, I had my sleep last night.
There you go. I've been hot air balloon guy, all different kinds of things, but balloonist is the term. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So how does one get into all things being a balloonist?
For me, and I think for most people, you generally start on the ground crew, which are the people that chase us, help set up the balloon, get everything ready. And typically that's where it starts. Even if you want to be a pilot right off the bat, it's important to learn all those aspects of what we do. So myself, I took my first ride when I was probably 9, started crewing right away down at the Strasbourg Balloon Festival, which it's kind of been debunked for many, many years. But that's how I got started, working ground crew with my dad. We would go out and help the gentleman that owned the business at the time. Eventually, high school, they said, look, you've been doing this for a long time. You want to start flying? And absolutely. So, pilot. Good.
Yeah. So a couple things. At 9 years old, were you excited about the flight? Were you scared? What were those emotions like at 9 years old, going up, a few hundred feet in a balloon?
Yeah, so it's crazy. I actually remember it like it was yesterday. We were in Strasbourg at the Strasbourg Balloon Festival, and Marv, the owner of the company at the time, our part owner, standing. We got the balloon all set up. It was ready to go. His son was in the basket with him, who was 16 years at the time, who's a good friend of ours, Russ Miller, here in Manheim Township as well. His father, Marv, turned to me and said, "Hey, I need some more weight. Do you want to go for a ride with us?" I was like, "Yeah." So just jumped right in, put a helmet on, because at the time, those baskets were cabled without any solid stabilization between the basket and the burner. So you can see those stanchions there, those solid pieces. We just had cables. So when you would land, that whole burner assembly would come down, and you had to duck and get out of the way of it because it was coming down towards you guys. So that was my first experience flying across Lancaster, and it was, love at first sight ever since.
That's incredible. That's a great story. So then learning how to fly it, like, what is that like? I'm sure there's a certain amount of hours and training and all of that. Like, what do you have to go through to be a pilot?
Yeah, it's actually the same process as what you do for any type of, whether you're helicopter or jet or airplane. It's obviously much less rigorous. It only requires 10 hours for your private and 20 for your commercial. You do have to take a written test, and then you do have to pass a practical flight test with an FAA certified examiner. So it's, like I said, same process, just there's only so much to ballooning. If you can't get it in 10 hours for your private license, then it's probably not for you. It is something that requires.
I just don't think this is going to work out. I can see the FAA instructor say that to me. Jeff, I think maybe sticking to motorcycles or hunting, or
don't get off the ground.
Yeah.
Well, it just requires kind of like a sixth sense, a certain amount of feel to it, because a balloon doesn't have a lot of instrumentation. You can't just make a left turn, a right turn. You sort of have to feel what the balloon's doing. Is it going up? Is it going down really fast? Do you need to burn? It's tough to explain and teach, I've found over the years.
Is it akin to boating? Like boats don't have brakes.
Right.
So if you
have to have that kind of sixth sense to know when that boat is drifting, when you need to turn, before you turn. Yeah. I mean, if you can drive a boat at slow speed, you might have the feel for a balloon.
Yeah. So it is a feel thing. So obviously, I mean, walk us through the core. I think our viewership, whenever they may pick this up, which, by the way, in case you haven't grabbed it here, if you're listening, watching, you can watch us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Please give us a like, a follow, a share on that channel, wherever you're taking us in. If you're listening to us on audio, do the same thing there, whatever platform you pick us up on. We'd appreciate that. It helps extend the reach of the show. So for anybody watching and listening, the core tenet of hot air ballooning, as I see it and understand it, is hot air rises. You're creating the hot air within the balloon structure itself, and that's what takes off and propels you upward. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. It actually, it is temperature, but the temperature is actually a variation of the air density. So you heat the air up inside the balloon, you make the air less dense. It then wants to rise above air that is more dense outside. So while with that thought in mind, hot days are hard on us and cold days are wonderful to be in a balloon as far as the balloon itself is concerned. You'll hear things about density, altitude, and things like that in aviation. And that just really means that the less dense the air is outside on a hot, humid day, the hotter I have to get the balloon to actually rise up through that. And we have temperature limits of 250 degrees for the balloon. So then that again affects the weight. that we have to take.
Mm.
So there's actually is a decent amount of science going on with what we do, and an understanding of the weather and the conditions outside to be able to pull off a flight.
How much do you have? How much attention are you needing to pay to, airports? Like, we have we'll talk about it later here in our time together. We got the Lancaster Air Show coming up. Obviously, you got an airport right there. You got the airport at Smoketown. You have, flight patterns. I guess as you get further east in the county, might you run into some of the flight patterns for like Philadelphia Airport. How do you have to pay attention to the airspace? What goes on there?
You do, absolutely. And we are kind of the sailboat of the sky, is what I tell people. We have the right of way because we have so little control over what we're doing. We can obviously go up and down, but left to right, we're strictly at the mercy of the wind. That being said, we do still have to respect the FAA regulations for airspace if we're coming into Lancaster, which we take off from Lancaster every morning from the Lancaster airport. So I call the tower, get clearance to be able to launch. On occasions when I have taken off from somewhere else and I'm coming towards the airport, once I get within their 5-mile airspace, we do have to contact them, let them know, hey, we're here, we're coming in. They basically just tell us to continue, proceed. There's not really much they can tell us to do because I can't do anything more than land if safely, if I'm able to do that safely, or climb. So like I said, we really get a lot of leeway as to where and what we can do. The caveat to that is, and courtesy of our current president over the last 3.5 years, has created a temporary no-fly zone whenever he is in Wilmington, which is about every other weekend or at least once a month, that comes all the way up to Smoketown, to where if we were to fly through that, we would get to see military aircraft up close. So the last 4 years, no,
I think it's a cool way to get up close and personal like to a jet.
But it's all part of the experience.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, we've had to deal with that sometimes. We were involved in the Lancaster Balloon Festival last September. We actually had to move flights to the airport because the no-fly zone was within 3 miles of the Smoketown Airport. It's right there. So
that's crazy.
with that regard, we do have to respect that no matter what.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so when you say you can go up and down, I think we now understand, thanks to your crash course science lesson of ballooning, no left and right. So what steers the balloon?
The wind, obviously. Now I have different forecast models that I can access through the National Weather Service. They're called Winds Aloft, and they will give us a forecast of what the winds are doing at different altitude intervals. Now, it is a forecast, so obviously most times it's accurate, sometimes it's not. But I will actually go out in the mornings and just fly, and as I'm climbing up through the different altitudes, I will note the direction we are going. Typically, as a whole, everything being equal, when you're closer to the ground, the winds will be going more to the left as opposed to the winds when you are, say, up at 1,000 feet. So I know generally when I come down, I'm going to bank to the left a little bit. And I can use that to sort of pick a field that's off to my left, or if I want to go more to the left. Now I say left, and that's in reference to the direction I'm flying. Obviously, when we fly, we're using east, west, north, and south. But in the direction I take off and I climb up to 1,000 feet, typically when I come back down, I'll go to the left of the direction I was going. So
interesting. So it's fair to say you never land in the same spot twice, right? I mean, it would be rare, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has happened where I have landed. I mean, it's just, you shoot for large openings. I've been to Ephrata High School. I've been to CV, a bunch of times. Twice in my flying career, I have taken off and landed back at the Lancaster Airport, which was a crazy experience. But yeah, twice that has happened to us. It's quite a weather phenomenon when that does occur. We get that opportunity. But it's all at the mercy of the wind. I have to fly what Mother Nature gives us and take advantage of that.
So like in that instance, you went around, and then ended up back at the airport.
Yeah. So when we took off that morning, the first time it happened, we took off and we headed due south, when we took off, we headed due south up at about 1,000 feet. And we climbed pretty quick. So I didn't really notice what the winds were at the very surface because I didn't give it much time. So we're headed south right towards the Manheim Township High School. And I decide we're going to come down and we're going to grab a spare tank. It was a summer day and we had gone through our first tank of fuel. I thought, well, we'll just come down. We're about a half hour and we'll grab a tank here at one of the fields behind the intermediate unit. And when we came down, we went straight north, right back towards the high school. I mean, right back towards the airfield.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I called the tower right away. I just said, I think we're coming back to you guys, just to give you a heads up. And they cleared me to land on a runway, which was kind of comical for a balloon. So we did. We landed on runway 31 and packed it up right on the runway at like 6 o'clock in the morning, or so. It was crazy. That just never happened. That it was just a weather phenomenon that morning, that the winds were going two completely 180-degree different directions from each other. And we were able to manipulate the balloon according to that.
And in the basket with you, you have some instrumentation and like computers that tell you what's going on forecast wise and wind wise and all of that, or not really. You're just
it's very
like
basic, very primitive. So we have an altimeter, obviously. I have a gauge that shows how fast I'm going up and down, vertical speed indicator. And I have a temperature probe at the top that tells me what the temperature is at the top of the balloon so I don't over-temp the fabric. I do have an updated piece of equipment, just some GPS in there that'll tell me my ground speed, which will then tell me what the winds, like if I'm, on the ground, I might have been doing 4, and up at 1,500 feet, I might be doing 20, so that kind of lets me know how far we're going to go. But that's really it. The biggest piece of instrumentation I use, and I don't mean to be inappropriate, but I spit over the side of the basket. And I watch it go down. And I try not to do it. I obviously do it where it's not over somebody's house or somebody outside waving.
Right.
Me. But I spit and watch it go down below me. And whichever direction it goes, I know that's the way we're going to go when we're getting ready to land. So I purposely chew gum. I always have water in the basket. It's the way I was trained. It's the way I know, a lot of balloonists do it. Like I said, there's not a lot of technology in ballooning.
That is wild. I've been rewatching a little bit of Seinfeld as of late in my spare time, and this spitting thing just has a total Seinfeld episode around it.
Yeah.
The one magic loogie.
It has completely. No, you could see like George getting up in a balloon with somebody who couldn't spit, and it became a whole thing. And his mother was a spitter. No, his father was a spitter. Like you could just the whole thing. So anyway, so now that we've got all the ins and outs of it all, let's talk about how you work with people. What kind of, so somebody wants to do a hot air balloon ride. What's that look like? Who can they bring? How many can they bring? Who typically uses your services? What kind of people do you want to see in the balloon?
Calm people, for the most part.
That's helpful.
I would rather not have any alarmists up there, and I never have. I've always had good experiences. I can't say as I've ever had anybody get sick or be scared beyond control. I've had a couple passengers that were shaking so much I felt the balloon, actually the basket was vibrating, and I had to sort of look around and realize that the person was, I don't know if they were shaking or shivering, but they were a little nervous at the beginning. Until the end, they had calmed down fine. But we get a good mixture of local and visitors to the area that want to go on rides. Obviously, people come for the tourist part of Lancaster County. So we'll get some passengers that will call and inquire about that. Those are usually the people that call me 3 hours before they want to go on a hot air balloon ride and it's raining outside and, hey, we want to go for a ride this afternoon. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but we're not flying today. It's not appropriate conditions. So we do get some calls like that. And I just have to remember that people just don't really understand at all what a hot air balloon ride entails. But I've had my daughters when they were the age of 5, as young as that in a balloon. My rule there is you need to be able to see out to fly with us. And I've had people in their late 80s early 90s fly with us as long as they're in good health. Obviously, you have to climb into the basket. It's about waist high. We have had to lift some people in just because knees and joints aren't working that well. But as long as they're in good condition and they can handle the landing, which there can be a bump even on the calmest of days. We always make a good concerted effort, depending on the age and the condition of our passengers, to kind of judge whether or not that day is a suitable day for them to fly, where you're talking about winds that are almost calm to 1 to 2 knots. And pretty much, I've had wedding proposals. I've had one gentleman dump some ashes the one flight. Yeah, my goodness. I mean, we've had, I don't want to say just about everything, but I've had a lot of different experiences in the balloon, and like 99.9% all good. Couldn't think of an issue or concern or passenger that we had that was a problem really ever.
How many people fit in your basket?
So it will depend on the size, but you could, if weight and temperature weren't a factor, you could put 3 to 4 adults in there with me. Now,
Okay.
obviously, size, and weight, it all depends on, is it a hot summer day? Is it the middle of January and we're out, having fun in the cold?
So that's where you were talking about, like, as a 9-year-old boy, you had to be the extra weight in the basket to counterbalance everything else going on at that time.
Yeah, a little. I think that was more of a line just to ask me that morning if I wanted to fly.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
But that being said, a light balloon is not a lot of fun to fly because it wants to climb all the time, and you can do what's called overburn, where you'll be coming into land and you just give it too much heat and you pop back up, which can be a nuisance. So if you got some weight, it's definitely, at least from my opinion, more enjoyable to fly.
So you've said you've landed at like some of the local high schools. So walk us, so do you pick out a landing region? Like, what happens if you land in somebody's field?
So people always ask, so where are we going to land? And my immediate response is, I don't know. Because it's fair enough that it is. I know what direction we're going to go to. I can kind of take my hands and I show them kind of like a wedge, like we're going to go that way. And that's all I know until we get to that spot. And it's usually only a few minutes prior to know that that's where we're going to land. It has to be someplace safe, clear of power lines. We obviously don't want to damage anything. We don't land in crops. I stay away from cattle, try not to scare them at all, because we need the landowners. There's my crew right there, my daughter and her friend. So without respect of landowners' property and real estate, we have no place to land. So we treat it as such. Given the opportunity, we try to get permission ahead of time, but it doesn't always work that way. So most times we're asking more for forgiveness than permission. But again, everybody's almost always happy to see us. Wonder what we're doing. Are we okay? Did we try to land here? Things like that. We've landed in some wide open fields, and I have landed in somebody's backyard already.
Wow.
And ironically, the backyard landing, the people were outside watching, and I just yelled down to them, "Can I land here?" And they were like, "Sure, absolutely, please." So,
I mean,
like I said,
everybody loves to see a balloon like flying like right over their house, right? So to have one land in your yard, that's a story. That's like cool. So of course, come on down.
Yeah. And we always carry a bottle of wine with us as a thank you if it's appropriate to give to the landowners. This is a thank you, because without landowners, we have nothing, and you have to treat it as such.
Right.
Yeah, that's smart. I prefer bourbon if you were to land in my backyard.
Wow. You better be one nice landing spot. I mean,
you would need to drink a bottle of bourbon to land in my backyard.
Brett, let's talk about the business itself, Susquehanna Valley Balloon Company. Maybe you could share a little bit about like how it got its start, why it got its start, what the mission is of the business, how you got involved, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so like I said, took the first ride. My dad was a crew member with one of the owners, Marv. They both went to high school together at Manheim Township back in the 50s. So, like I said, as a kid, I was coming out. One of the highlights of growing up was when I turned 16, and I was able to drive the chase truck. So, I knew Lancaster County better than any 16-year-old kid probably did at that time in the early 90s, just because you're just driving all over the place, and you never know where you're going, and you don't need to. You're just looking up, following the balloon. Wherever the balloon goes, you go, and you try to make sure you're a little bit ahead of them so that when they land, you're there to catch them. And those gentlemen, Nick Molman and Marv Miller, like I said, both were state representatives at the time. Each owned a balloon. They each had half a stake in the Susquehanna Valley Balloon Company that they started in 1986. And I have been with them. I took a little hiatus when I left after high school to go in the Air Force, and came back from that, started crewing again. And Nick was still involved with it and said, look, you've been doing this forever. You need to get your commercial. You need to start flying passengers. Do you want to? I said, absolutely. And it pretty much went from there until he was no longer able to continue. I bought the business, changed up a couple things, rebranded some, logos and things like that. And here we are. Still loving it. My wife enjoys coming out. We have a good group of guys that help, and ladies. My kids, I drag them out in the mornings when I need the extra crew. They're of size and strength where they can be of assistance now, which is great. So it's been good.
That's cool. So if somebody wanted to book a flight, get more information, what are some of the details that somebody can expect when they're booking a flight?
Yeah. So give us a call. We need to know, age and weight. That's usually my first question. How many people? Is everybody in good health? And it's best to give it some time. A month is good if you want a specific slot, a certain Saturday, a certain Sunday. We also keep in mind that it's really weather dependent. The people that are the most flexible with their scheduling availability, we get flown the fastest. Starting the summer, a lot of my crew are teachers. So once they're out of school, I start doing morning and some evening flights. We're trying to do more evening flights as long as we can get people to help crew. So the people that have the most flexibility are usually the people that get flown first, the fastest. And it just sort of depends, on that. I've had people that have taken 3 years to get flown, reschedule. And I've had other people that, first time we came out, we got good weather.
Right. Yeah.
I love to fly personally. I love to fly in the fall. It's the best time of the year. So the summer's great too. It's a little hotter, a little more oppressive for me. In there on a regular basis with 30 million BTUs above your head. But
wow,
it's fun too. The evenings are fun. I enjoy it's kind of a double-edged sword. Mornings are great because they're the most consistent time of the day to fly.
Okay.
But the evenings are more fun because people are up and awake, and there's just more interaction with the general public when we fly in the evenings. People see us more. We have more of a presence in the evening. So, like I said, they both have their upsides.
That's cool. What was I gonna? Sorry, I forgot where my train.
Well, you're thinking of that. Have you done anything with schools where you might come in, set up like for their field day or end of year day, and you just kind of go up and come down? Like, do you do anything?
Yeah.
Like
So. Yeah, no, absolutely. My wife is a teacher at the Kissel Hill Elementary School, and at the time she was at Bondfield Elementary School in Warwick, and we would bring the balloon up for their field day, inflate it, stand it up, try to do as much as we can with the winds and the weather on that specific day. We've done some events where we're doing tethers and things like that. They're a little bit more labor intense, but yeah, I'm always up for educating the public or the kids about it, because a lot of people just don't know and might have some misconceptions about it that we can clear up for them. So
that's kind of where my line of questioning was going, and my brain went one way and I wanted to say something else.
It's the first time doing the show.
So the misconceptions, anytime I've done one hot air balloon ride, and it was a fantastic experience. It was probably 15 years ago. It was awesome. Loved it, and I'd love to do another one with you. But like anybody I've ever talked to about a hot air balloon, like some people have done it before and they love it, and others are like, I would never go up in that thing, like the total fear of it. But it's a very, very safe thing to do, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, way safer than being in your car every day in traffic.
Okay.
It really done properly by the proper pilot and the proper crew and environment with the decisions being made. It is tremendously safe. There are inherent risks with anything, and ballooning its power lines and making good decisions based on the weather forecast for that day. Just like anything else, some people don't make the best decisions, but we find it to be very safe, and we're very fortunate that I don't do this for a living to feed my family and pay the bills. We do it for the enjoyment of it, and it pays the bills of the company so that I'm able to continue to do it. So that being said, I don't have to push it to fly. If it's questionable,
Right.
we always say we don't do probably at Susquehanna Valley Balloon Company. We do definitely and for sure. So if it's a questionable morning or there's something questionable in the forecast that we don't like, we just don't fly. We don't put anybody at risk. And in the end, I want to go home too. At the end of the day, to my family. So, I think sometimes people forget that the pilots want to go home too. So, we try to make the best decisions for everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point. You spend a pretty penny going out to a nice dinner. The chef could have had pizza that night and not their own cooking. That's a very good point. So I guess on that note, if people are interested in using your services, and let's say it is an anniversary or a birthday, gathering from you, it would probably make sense to say, like, if the teenage daughter for her 16th birthday wants a hot air balloon ride, probably better to try to schedule that. If the birthday is May 15th, schedule it in the month of May and not for the weekend of May 15th, right?
Right. Or I think there needs to be an expectation that you can't just call and schedule it for May 15th and it's going to happen on May 15th.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can give yourself, it could take 2 weeks. If you're available on the weekends, if you're available in the evenings, if you're available during the week, it's going to be much easier to get that ride accomplished. If you're like us as families with active kids in sports and you've got 1 or 2 weekends a month, it could be tough to get the weather to cooperate on that specific day that you want to do it. So I sometimes in the summer will have a list of people that I will call. Hey, it looks good on Thursday evening. Can you fly? Yes. Okay, great. Let's go. If I can look at the weather and decide when to fly and reach out to people that have the availability, it's so much easier to get those people flying. That's when we have the most success.
Yeah.
With getting people flown.
Can you imagine? Brett shared a story that somebody's gotten engaged in the balloon. Like if you're that dude, and you like can't fly that day, and you're like and then it's like another week and another week.
I couldn't imagine doing that. I honestly couldn't. I used a balloon to propose to my wife, but it was not in the air; it was on the ground. So it was
okay.
It was much more reliable that way.
That's cool. So pre-show, you were telling us about the air show that's coming up, the community days at the airport in Lidditz here. Can you talk more about that and what your involvement is going to be?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's going to be the beginning of September. I believe you guys might have the dates there when he throws it up.
September 7th and 8th, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. There it is. Yep. Perfect. They're going to be doing some stuff Friday evening, Saturday, and Sunday. They haven't nailed down the times. It's usually late morning through late afternoon, where they're going to have a lot of performers, in-air performers. They're looking to expand the area that they use this year in terms of, if you've ever been there before, the asphalt, the ramp space. They're actually going to go down the complete other side of the airport and really just expand it for the people to view it and just get a better experience. Again, with more things to see in the air. In terms of performers and displays, I'm really excited for it. I think this could be the best one that they've ever done. We're going to participate with some tethers when we can. In the mornings, we'll be out there on the ramp in a static capacity, just sort of, with the other aircraft that are there on display, and then hopefully a launch in the evening. So it's really going to be a jam-packed weekend. We hope they get good weather, and good turnout. It should be a lot of fun.
When you say a launch in the evening, who gets to do that, or is that?
No, I'm just going to schedule passengers for that evening and try to launch the balloon on the air side in front of everybody, just so they'll get the opportunity to sort of see the whole process of setting it up and just the departure of it. Yeah,
that's cool. And do you have one balloon, or do you have multiple balloons, or?
No, just the one balloon. I have a couple envelopes, the fabric itself, but I have just one basket, and the other balloon itself, the fabric is the same exact design. It's just older. We use it for more display and things like that, where we might be concerned about damaging it, and if it would get damaged, it's fine because we don't really fly it. It's more for static displays.
Yeah. Always good to go out with your best balloon.
It is your most airworthy balloon. Absolutely.
Remember, pilots want to come home too.
That's right. No, and you guys brought up a point earlier, and I didn't quite get the opportunity to weave it in there. We get some misconceptions sometimes when people see us flying about what's going on in the air, and are we in danger or are we not? I've been met by the Manheim Township Fire and Police Department several times. They're fabulous. We have a good relationship, but every once in a while, someone will see us flying very low above the trees because we're looking for a spot to land. I always tell people I can't land if I don't get closer to the ground. And but people think we are crashing, we are in distress. So I would just encourage people to just sort of take a look. And we are not airplanes, we are not helicopters. We do need to get close to the ground. If we are not actually hitting something, we are probably okay. But I appreciate the people's concern. But like I said, we have been met by the fire department on more than one occasion because someone has called in a balloon that was. They actually said I was stuck in a tree one time, and that they had seen flames, which they probably did because that's an integral part of what I do. But yeah, you'd be surprised. Some of the
so they saw trees over here, balloon over here, flames in the middle. And
exactly. Yeah, sort of like that.
Pushed it all together into an emergency.
Yeah, to the point where I'm on a first name basis with the chief here at the Nelsonville Fire Department. If we do evening flights sometimes, and I know I'm going towards the East Petersburg area, which is where we seem to get the phone calls, I will actually just shoot them a text. Hey, we're going to be up tonight flying. If anybody calls, feel free to reach out to me, rather than bringing out the whole fire department just for us, for a meet and greet. So, yeah, it's comical sometimes.
So you East Pete watchers and viewers, just relax. The balloons are okay.
We're okay. That does seem to be where we get it. I'm not, I live here and that's my township as well. But it does seem to be that's when we get it. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you for stopping by the show and being on with all that you're doing with your Susquehanna Valley Balloon Company there. Very cool. My biggest integration with balloons was in elementary school when we got to jump under the balloon parachute thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That was always fun. But I've never been in a hot air balloon. And so I'll have to talk with my wife and see if she's I don't know that she's changed her position on it yet. So maybe it's
she has to watch this episode.
Maybe it's a boys
I'll
and
tell you
dads
what,
thing.
In June, we are going to be doing it's called the Wings and Wheels event at the Lancaster Airport, Saturday, June 22nd. And we're going to be trying to do a tether there in the morning, again, if the weather allows. So if you're around and you've ever wanted to try a hot air balloon, that's the best way to do it. You can just we'll be all tethered to the ground, going up and down about 80 feet or so. You can kind of just sort of get a good sense of it. It's a great way to try it out.
Sounds perfect for Steph.
It does.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think 8 feet off the ground is her preference, but we'll see. We'll see. No,
cool.
so that's June 22nd. You're planning to be at the airport.
Saturday, June 22nd at the Lancaster Airport. It's called Wings and Wheels. Yep, we will hopefully be there, like I said, again. And I'll probably post something on our website about it as it gets closer. And yeah, hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate that morning and we'll be able to pull it off.
Very good.
That's cool.
Very good. All right. Well, it's that time for Connection Cocktail time. Scott, you talked about bringing wine. I talked about bringing bourbon. It's Connection Cocktail time. So,
there's
the pilot drinking his vodka.
Yep.
Just kidding. That's water.
Yeah, water.
So
I'm a bourbon
Brett,
guy anyways. I'm a bourbon guy. I'm not a vodka guy, so I'm with you.
There we go. So we're going to go back to ballooning. What is your most interesting or exciting, maybe non-fire department ballooning experience? Do you have a like a favorite flight you've ever done, or most interesting flight you've ever done?
I would say the most interesting flight we ever did was just a normal day, normal flight. We flew towards the southwest from the Lancaster Airport, headed just west of the city, and we landed in the yard in the front of WGAL. It was a morning flight. Landed right in the grass, and we just sort of did our thing. I'm like, man, they're going to come out and they're going to want to, shoot some video or questions or whatever, and nothing. We just sort of laid it over, did our thing, packed it up. Actually, Terry Madonna was coming out of the studio down the driveway in his car, and he just said, "You guys be careful and have a good morning." And he drove
Nothing
by.
to see here.
Right, and that was it. I mean, nobody from WGAL knew we were there. We were right in their front yard, and
that blows my mind because like everybody, you see a balloon going over your head, you're like, oh my gosh, there's a balloon right there. Like,
yeah,
you would think.
I mean, that was probably like 15 years ago for sure. So maybe it was before technology, and somebody would have, Facebooked us or something, or posted something about us there. But yeah, landed right in front of WGAL, and nobody ever knew we were there.
Well, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
didn't know.
Yeah.
Paying all these people to go get news, and it's right in your front.
Right,
yard.
News. I mean, it couldn't. I mean, yeah. So it was great.
If you could do anything else for a living, what would it be?
Good question.
Well, anything else for a living besides being a commercial pilot? Yeah, no, that was a dream for me. I started out doing construction and some other jobs. I've only been a full-time pilot for the last 5 years, so that was like my dream to be able to fly for a living. So I made it there 5 years ago. So I really couldn't. I mean, unless like playing for the Philadelphia Eagles or something like that. I mean, but that's kind of cheesy, But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy being a pilot and getting the opportunity to go places and do
that's
things
cool.
that I do.
Yeah, we're all probably beyond the professional sports. Careers.
Speak for yourself.
There you go.
Speak for yourself. I'm working to get one in.
Yeah, right.
I've got big dreams.
Hey,
yeah,
dream big. So last question. We talked about the fear of maybe flying and going up in the air, that sort of thing. That maybe a lot of people have. Do you have a fear or a phobia? You're obviously not afraid of heights, right?
I'm not afraid of heights. Boy, do I have a fear or phobia? There's nothing that really, yeah, I do have a fear. And I do scuba dive, so this is kind of may seem odd, but do not stick me in the water at night. Do not drop me in the ocean at night where I cannot see what's going on. I'm not a big fan of the dark and water. I don't mind the dark, like being on land, but man, no, thank you. That would I'd be walking on water back to that boat as fast as I could. Yeah, not a fan.
I feel you. I wouldn't like that either.
Yeah,
I don't mind that at all. The thing about water in me is when it's like a lake and it's got the silt and the dirt build up at the bottom,
the murky bottom,
and you got to walk through it.
Yeah,
I don't like
you
that.
touch it. Yeah,
I don't want
too
anything.
many horror movies, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing good that comes up from dark water. I mean, it's just yeah.
Don't want it at all. Nope.
Well, thanks for playing along.
Yeah, thank you, Brett. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate everything you're doing at Susquehanna Valley Balloon Company. You can find out what Brett's up to literally what he's up to
Nice. That was well
at
done.
svballooning.com. You can check them out there. Be sure to check out what they're doing at the Lancaster Airport. You could, I'm sure, hit up Brett's site, his social media, which we've had in the show notes and on the screen. But you can also go to Lancaster Airport, see the events they're doing. I mean, I think one takeaway from this is that Susquehanna Valley Balloon has a lot to offer, but the airport offers events. If we have a vibrant airport, maybe that leads to more flight and more fun opportunities in our community, and that's good. So make sure you get out there on these events. June 22nd, that was Wings and Wheels.
Wheels. Yeah, there's going to be a huge car show. They'll fill the front field with old and antique cars.
So we got that. And then September 7th and 8th is the air show, which looks to be a lot of fun as well. So check that out. Brett, thank you. Thank you for taking the time today. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a blast. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Well, if you have something cool that you're doing in the community and that the community would enjoy, or you're helping our community in a meaningful way, we'd love to have you on the show. You go to lancasterconnects.com/guest, fill out the form, and that'll kick off the process, and we'll see if you're a fit and look to have you on the show if so.
That's cool.
Are you speechless?
I feel like I'm starting the show over again.
What is happening?
I don't know.
It's episode 131, not 1.
Yeah.
You okay with it?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
You sure?
Hanging in there.
Okay.
Maybe sleep deprivation has taken over.
Must have been it. Maybe you didn't get to sleep till 1:32.
Yeah, no, I slept. I woke up early, but no, I hit the bed. I'm like out.
All right. Well, I'm going to do my sleep better tip.
Do it.
Which means you have your testimonial coming up next. Are you prepared?
I'm ready.
Mr. Episode 1.
Ready,
Okay, just want to
ready to
check. All right, very good. So we always do a nice sleep better tip here on the show. And that is our goal. We wrote the book, Sleep Better. It's right here behind me. We'll mail you your copy. And you go to gardenersmattressandmore.com/sleep-better. And so I don't know about you, Ben, if in your wife's side of the bathroom, there are creams and powders and potions for the face.
Yes. All over the place.
Yeah.
I actually cleaned the bathroom yesterday, and I had to move all that stuff out and move it all back in. There's a lot of stuff hanging out over there.
Yeah. Well, so, those powders and potions and creams and stuff can carry a pretty price tag sometimes. All can be rendered useless without the right sleep, right? So sleep is actually skin's natural rejuvenator. Which this ain't a filter. This is all goodness coming at you here on the screen.
1080p.
That's right. It's all good stuff. But no, it's good sleep releases collagen into your skin, allows the skin to not wrinkle as much. So it really does enhance your looks. And you can be a sleeping beauty like me. You can with good sleep. And so, it's that part of the makeup industry is a $1 billion industry. Skin care, skin rejuvenation, getting rid of fine lines and wrinkles. Quality sheets can also help with that too, right? If you're on really wrinkly, hard sheets on your pillowcase, that makes a big, big difference. So there's a lot of things you can do related to sleep to help your appearance, help things look good. And sleep is one of them, helps release collagen. So that's actually on page 19 and 20 of our Sleep Better book. We'll send you a copy for free. You go to gardenersmattressandmore.com/sleep-better.
I think that's an interesting one because I don't think that really most people would think about sleep in that way.
No,
they think about sleep in terms of being tired, right? But not, and body rejuvenation, but not from a skin standpoint. That's really interesting.
Yep. Well, think about it. Like, you go to a nice restaurant and you have a disappointing meal. You feel you've wasted $100. Those skin creams cost as much.
It's true.
Now you feel it, you see it going on, and you might feel you're seeing results. And maybe you are,
right? But
you could see amplified results every month if you had better sleep. And you can still spend the $100 on this on the skin cream. That's fine. But you'll get far better results with great sleep.
I like it. Testimonial time. Gardener's Mattress and More, right here on Plaza Boulevard. We have some happy customers that have shared some kind words on the Google machine. We had a review come in from Hooked on Comics. I'm not sure who that was, but that was their name on Google.
We couldn't have made that up.
No.
We make up some of them. But...
yeah, right. It takes a long time to write these reviews.
Yeah.
Hooked on Comics came in to see the Dream Cloud mattresses that had been on their Facebook ad. So if you've ever visited a mattress site, a lot of times you're traveling on social media, you'll see the ads over and over. Dream Cloud is a brand that we carry here at Gardener's Mattress and More, along with some other brands that hang out online. This person was shown what they were looking for, and they were not feeling like they had to buy a bed that they weren't looking for, meaning that they came in for Dream Cloud. That's what they wanted to see. That's what we showed them. And we likely showed other products, but we weren't forcing other products on them, which you do get the feel from some other higher pressure box retailers, right?
Well, it's kind of like the $99 car lease.
Yes.
Try to get the person on the car lot to show you the $99 car lease out of the gate.
Right.
Probably not going to happen. You got to like grab them by the arm and like twist. I went a little aggressive there.
That's my bad arm.
Oh, that's your bad arm.
I'm all right.
Sorry, it just made Ben squeal. Show's gone off the rails. But no, to the point of, we're not going to do that to you. But in all seriousness, it's totally lost here. I didn't do it that hard.
I'm all right.
You okay?
Yes.
You all right there? Do we have to call the doctor?
There we are. Yep.
There's the review. Thank God for our producer, Chris.
Yeah, he brings everything right back.
But it's a very great comment, and we always appreciate feedback, and we always reply to every one of those. Topically to what people shared, and it really is that. It is what we do here with regards to Dream Cloud and Helix and Nectar. I'm trying to think. Tempur-Pedic, I guess, is a digitally native brand that began online as well, or the precursor to the internet, direct mail.
Yep.
If you want to see it, we'll show it to you. We'll happily show it to you. Again, our primary concern here is it a fit? And we want to help you understand if it is a right fit. And we won't put you in a chicken wing to what we think is the right fit. That was an abrupt moment here on the show.
My arm is dead now. It's gone limp.
But we're never going to do that to you. If you want to see it, we're going to show it to you. You get to try it out. And that's the nice thing with those brands. They create a lot of intrigue and interest, and you get to experience it here. And it's why we do what we do. It's why we curate the brands that we do. And I feel what is part of our secret sauce, our special experience that you have here at the store. So, plus, maybe you'll see Jeff put Ben in a chicken wing someday.
I mean, we have to do that to customers to get the wallet out, right? And just arm bar.
We have never chicken winged a customer.
We have not. Nope.
So, on that note, I think we covered it all.
I think that's yeah.
Make sure you come back next week to see what Ben does to Jeff for payback of the chicken wing. We'll just have to see. I'm a little worried.
Flying elbow.
Right. Remember when I was
they give you the people's elbow.
Remember when I really trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Bring it on. I might have some moves left in the tank.
I don't want any part of that.
Yeah. Well, this was a great show. We had Brett from Susquehanna Valley Balloon on, learned all about what it is to be a balloonist, and that was cool. So check them out, svballooning.com. And that's it for this show on the chicken wing note. That was good. We'll see you next week on Lancaster Connects.